Welcome and welcome back to my channel. My name is Belle and this is the Belle Perspective, and today we're reviewing Ready to Love Season 7 Episode 10 Bro Code Broken. But before we get into that, I've got a couple housekeeping items to cover with you. Let's get into it. Okay, so first things first, I have my goal of making 500 subscribers by the end of the month. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but I need your help. So hit that subscribe button and hit that like button as well. That'll also help me out. So that being said, I want to shout out two, why am I holding up one? Two of our new subscribers. Welcome. I want to shout out Angeline Pearson and Lagora Garner. So again, it's Angeline Pearson and Lagora Gardner. Welcome, 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 welcome to the channel. This is one of the episodes that I am here for. It's always the reunion and the getaway episodes that I look forward to because that's when all of the things start coming out. So on their way, there was a couple mashups that I thought were interesting as far as like the group travel. So sometimes they travel together, sometimes they travel alone, but there was a couple cars that were packed with people and I was just like, why y'all traveling together? Okay, so Jeffri and Morgan were traveling together. I could see that. And they were talking about their connections and you know how they're both different, completely different from each other. And Jeffri says, oh, you gonna be on that Jeffri energy this weekend? Jeffri energy, girl, you have energy? Okay. So then Mercedes and Mark Anthony were traveling with Cynthia and Andre, and I could have sworn I thought Andre was not fooling with Cynthia like that after he met his good girl, I was gonna say good girlfriend, but his good friend, which I thought was some BS. I felt, and I don't think I mentioned it in my recap last week, but I felt like Andre just kicked up dirt just so he can so he can select Jeffri. But anyway, Tony, Anthony, and Lyndon are riding in the car together, and I thought that was interesting because Tony and Lyndon kind of have this like nice, nasty relationship. I don't know. It's like a catty relationship. One day they're beefing and going back and forth. The next minute they're friends. I don't know what their relationship looks like, but I thought it was interesting to see them riding together. Anthony, to me, is the most viable partner. I don't know what these other women are fooling. I don't know. Or maybe that was the problem. Everybody was trying to run for Anthony, but he wasn't really clicking with all the other women. I'll get to a rundown of the ideal couples in a minute, of the couples who I think might be ideal in just a minute. But to me, I think Anthony is the most viable candidate on this show. He has a great job. He has a great home. He has a steady relationship with his daughter. It's not a whole lot of things going on with him. He's pretty chill. Like, Anthony is the viable candidate to me. I would have ran straight to him, and I guess maybe everybody else was too, and that was a problem because he wasn't feeling everyone, which makes sense. So we get to the destination, and I think it's in the Everglades is where they were. Either like near the Everglades or something like that. There's swamps all over Florida. I'm a Floridian, originally from Jacksonville, Florida. And by way of Orlando, so there's a whole thing there, but a lot of my family's in Jacksonville and Orlando, Florida, and so I'm completely familiar with the state. Yes, the state, because I've been all over. They get to the destination. It's the swamps. Gators are swimming around. Now, I don't encourage people to go around and be swimming with gators, but they kind of become, I don't want to say neighbors, but you see them, they see you, you go the other way. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like that kind of relationship. You can't live in Florida without seeing a gator. Just know this is kind of like the golden rule. If you see a pool of water, even if it's like a puddle, just assume a gator lives in that puddle of water, okay? Morgan says this is a getaway. I was like, oh my God, that was kind of funny. So Tommy pulls up into the boat, pulls up on an airboat, and he's talking about himself in third person like he usually does. Tommy really works my nerve, okay? I don't understand why he has to talk about himself. He talks like, well, it is a game show, but does he have to keep talking like it's a game show? I don't know. It's annoying. It's annoying. Anyway, so they get on the airboat. I wouldn't have got on that. I don't trust those boats. The minute it tops over, flips over. Anyway, I was scared for some of the women. lashes, wigs, things flying up. It would have been a mess. They get to the house and they see the house is really pretty. I love those green couches. I've been trying to find green couches like that for so long. I actually found a set and I wasn't able to get it because when me and my boyfriend moved in together, he wanted to keep his couch. So I'm just trying to style it up as best I can around here, you guys. I promise you, pray for your girl. This is the first time I've ever lived with a boy. It's different. It's different. It's different. Okay, so Morgan finds the best room. And Lyndon is saying, oh, I got the best room. I got the best. Or Morgan's saying, I got the best room. I got the best room. Lyndon's saying, who is we? We got the best room is what Morgan was saying. Lyndon says, who is we? And he was like, me and Cynthia. And he was like, oh, okay. So I guess there was like a whole thing of who was going to sleep with Morgan. I'm assuming the guys, Tony and Lyndon, on the way there were kind of having this like battle about who was going to have to share the room with Morgan. But did y'all think about including Morgan in that conversation? Because yeah, she's human, you know, right? She makes choices and decides what she wants for herself. But also, Morgan, I'm about to get on your behind because you off the chain too. You out of line as well, but I'll get into that in just a second. So Tony and Lyndon get into a pissing match, for lack of a better term, and start playing pool. Tony beats Lyndon, and I guess they say that they're going to be playing for... Lyndon says he wants to play for Morgan's honor. I find it interesting that Tony says, nah, let's play for who's sleeping in Morgan's room. I was like, wow. Okay, yeah. So you're not, Tony, you're not here for the right reasons at all. Morgan comes in, she finds out what they're doing, and she's tickled pink by it. She thinks it's so funny. She loves it. She is literally trying to pretend like she's irritated by it, but she absolutely loves the ruckus and the dirt that's being kicked up as the guys are going back and forth over her. But she doesn't realize that it's not about her. It's about just showing who has the bigger appendage, for lack of a better term. Andre and Jeffri sneak away into the bathroom and do a little kissy face. Nobody cares. And are we not going to talk about the feather in Andre's hair? Are we not? Every week he finds a new and inventive way of making himself look like a fool. I'm not going to talk about him too much on this review, but nobody said anything about that feather in his head. It just was, he looked like he just picked it up off the ground and just put it in his hair. It was ridiculous. It looked ridiculous, per usual. So Jeffri and Mark Anthony, they're sitting down outside talking, and Mark Anthony's enamored by her beauty. He said, you're so pretty. And I think that's the only reason why Mark Anthony is still around, because Mark Anthony, you know good and goddamn well, you're not trying to be stepdaddy to all of Claudine's kids. And shout out to all our single mothers out there. My mother was a single mother. Shout out to her. Well, shout out to the single moms who do right by their kids. But sweetie, Mark Anthony, you know what you want, and you know you're not trying to take on Jeffri and all of her children, okay? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a big responsibility. Jeffri and Mark Anthony is not the one. In my mind, the ideal couples would be Mark Anthony and Mercedes, Cynthia and Anthony, Andre and Jeffri, and Morgan and Tony. I honestly think those would be the good fit, honestly, to me. Now, I don't think that they will last long. Do I think they have longevity or any of these couples? No, I don't think so. But if we're going to talk about just pure chemistry and who gets along with, who has the better matchup as far as cultural values and background and expectation, I think those 8 people that I named have the better chance of walking off without, you know, being dissatisfied or feeling like they, you know, settled. With that being said, I don't know why we keep dragging this out. I think we all know what's happening. I felt like there were a couple conversations that happened around the house where it just seemed like they were wrapping a bow up on the relationship because they knew that it wasn't it. There was a conversation that Andre had with Cynthia. And this was something I didn't even know. Cynthia has reservations about Andre herself. I'm like, girl, what? Why didn't you tell us? Because I had been yelling, saying, Cynthia, girl, I don't know if Andre is the one, girl. Anthony is better suited, again, for this environment. I don't know what he's like outside of that, and I don't know if you guys have actual longevity. But if we're bar for bar, pound for pound, round for round, Andre over Anthony, girl, Anthony, okay? I don't know why we still, I don't know. So they have dinner. Anthony's cooking again. That's another check. Anthony cooks, and the food looked delicious, okay? He cooked twice, and the food looked amazing. They're sitting down. Morgan sits down next to Tony. Lyndon sits down next to Morgan, and it seems like, according to Tony, Lyndon is Morgan's shadow. Tony says he's ready for this man to go away. Like, give me 50 feet with Morgan. He ends up getting up to go outside. Morgan asks him if they could go outside and talk, and Morgan is eating it up. She loves the way Tony is acting. It is almost, and y'all been in those situations where there's like so much tension. I wonder if they slept together. Y'all think they slept together? Because I'm feeling like they kind of slept together a little bit, or at least went to second base. There's a lot of chemistry and tension between the two of them, and it's almost kind of like territorial, crazy. It's that passionate, but once you do it, or once you get it out of the way, it doesn't have longevity. Anywho, so Tony is telling Morgan, listen, you need to get your boy in check. You need to tell him who it is and what it is, and that he ain't it. And part of me agrees with Tony, because Morgan has been playing this game. She has gone around and acted like, during this getaway, she's like, oh my God, I don't know why Tony's acting so jealous. Why is he being so jealous? But you literally, through this entire season, have thrown Lyndon in Tony's face to make him what? Jealous. And so now that he's actually responding to it, and honestly, let's be real, the only reason why he's responding to Lyndon is because Marcia is gone. Marcia's gone. Tony has no other options. So if Marcia's gone, you're his only viable candidate. You still have Lyndon. He's looking like, okay, it's time for you to make a choice. That's the only reason why he's doing that. So that should tell you a whole lot right there. That in the event that Marcia or any other woman were standing in that place, then he wouldn't be sweating you like this. But Morgan is so emotionally immature that she doesn't even realize that, okay? Anthony and Sue-Ann actually have a conversation finally, and I feel like Anthony pretty much did the setup. He did the okie doke. He pitched the ball and waited for Sue-Ann to finish the conversation. So he didn't want to have the conversation with Sue-Ann and say that he's not interested with her. He pitched the idea, planted it, and then let Sue-Ann finish. Let me tell you what I'm trying to say. So they start talking. They had to play foosball or whatever they doing. I don't know. I ain't never know how to play that game. To be honest with y'all, I don't even know what that is. Quiet as it's kept. I've seen it before, billiards and things like that, but I don't know what to do. So they're talking back and forth, and he's saying, so is there still time for me to like reach out and make a connection with you? And she was like, if you snooze, you lose. Basically, well, we already know what that means. If you snooze, you lose. And he was like, so I snooze? And she said, well, yeah, you've been on snooze this whole time. And he was like, oh, okay, well, what is it? And she was like, well, Blake has shown his intention and done all these things. Anthony knew that exactly. Like, he's asking the questions to set her up to force her to tell him the truth so he doesn't have to do it. I was like, wow, Anthony, I see how you're doing. That was well played. Well played. We talked about the situation with Andre and Cynthia, and how Cynthia says she has reservations with Andre. Andre says that he has deep conversations. You know, he talks about shallow things a lot, but he also has deep conversations. If somebody has to tell you what they can and cannot do, if somebody has to tell you that, hey, I also have deep conversations, why don't you just do it? Why do you have to tell me? Andre is so, I'm gonna keep getting their names mixed up. I'm sorry. Andre is hella shallow, and I think that's why he's with Jeffri, because Jeffri is running a flimmy flam, skimmy scam, and the less you know, the better, okay? Cynthia says that she shared things with Anthony or Andre, but he has not at the level that she shared with Anthony, and I think that would be her go-to. If we, in my opinion, and again, I can't guarantee longevity, I can't guarantee, the chemistry and all of that, but if we're bar for bar, pound for pound, Anthony is the better pick for Cynthia, and that's just what I know. Tony, Morgan, Jeffri are having a conversation, and Jeffri saying she needs some advice. Tony's giving her advice. Morgan is like, how the hell are you giving her advice and you not taking your own? You saying all these things, but are you taking your own medicine? And I'm thinking to myself, like, Morgan, be quiet. Be quiet. The way she talks to him is crazy. They have this crazy, unstable, passionate, I want to dominate you. You gonna dominate. I'm dominating you. No, you dominating me. No, I'm dominating you. No, I'm dominating you kind of relationship. And it's gonna fizzle out once they start getting physical. If they haven't already, it's not gonna last. But there's like a power struggle, power dynamic between the two of them, and that's what's drawing them to each other. But eventually it'll self-destruct. That's my opinion, that they have a power dynamic going on. So now we get to the dinner. The food look amazing again. Anthony did his thing. Mercedes said she was his sous chef. Girl, she ain't touch a thing. He probably just let her wash the lettuce, child. That's what all I would have let her do. She look like she can't burn not a damn thing, girl. Don't cook nothing, girl. Don't cook nothing for me. They started talking. Andre decides he wants to talk about the history of the land. He was like, our ancestors were Black Indians. And I was just like, I don't know. I mean, that might be the case. That might be true. Maybe his ancestors, because he has an accent, and I'm not sure where he's from. And he's gone out of the way to put a feather in his hair, and it looks ridiculous. But anyway, and not because of other people's culture. It just looks ridiculous on him. Hopefully that's not offensive. Here we go. Lyndon brings up the conversation. He starts it. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Lyndon's the one that started. He puts Tony on the spot and says, so Tony, who would you be sending home? Tony says, listen. Everybody's like, oh my God, Tony, really? Lyndon, you getting right to it. Tony says, listen, anybody who's not Morgan, I'm voting off. It's fair game. Tony says, hey, listen, if we asking the real questions, how do you feel about it, Lyndon, that Morgan and I have a deeper connection, that I've kissed her 3, 4, 5 different times, and you never kissed her at all? And this is when Lyndon says, well, how do you feel about the fact that you told me that if Marcia was still here, then I could have Morgan? Bingo. That is all I needed to know. Morgan is, acting upset and all this other stuff. But I'm going to be honest with you, Morgan don't give a damn about that. She do not care. She's not listening to that. She is going to still proceed with Tony regardless. They end up getting, exchanging words. Tony says, we can handle this outside. Oh my God. Tony, again, all the signs are showing that this has nothing to do with Morgan and all about how big their appendages are, okay? Morgan is in the room. She's sitting there with her friend. I don't remember who that was, who was in the room with her. Lyndon comes in and apologizes to her. They end up flipping the camera again, and I think Morgan and Tony have a conversation. I'm kind of jumping around a little bit because this is a part where I stopped watching or got up and started doing something else. I think I was loading the dishwasher, doing something more interesting than watching the show. Anywho, so Tony goes and talks to her and says, so what are we doing? They're having a battle of words. Again, this is a conversation about dominance. They're fighting for dominance in this relationship, and it's not about connecting. It's not about trying to vibe or gel with each other. It's more about, I see you, I want to dominate you. There's Tony is trying to dominate her because he sees that she's got this, I will not be dominated. I will not show my cards. I will not ever let another man treat me bad like that. But mind you, it's the same. Tony is that same guy that she not trying to be fooled with. On paper, she says, I don't want to cheat her. I don't want to lie her. I don't want to play her. I don't want any of those things. But that's all the things Tony is. And then Tony is like, I'm trying to deal with a fool, crazy woman and all this other stuff. But Morgan is that same kind of woman. And so because of that, he feels like he's a player, that he's got to be able to dominate her. If that makes any sense. That's the reason why they have so much. And again, I'm not a psychologist. I just make up stuff and I say it out loud. And if it sounds good, I just, leave it out there. But But I feel like that's the reason, that's the power dynamic that they have. It's not on I like you. It's not about I'm trying to be with you. It's I see traits in you that I'm trying to dominate. I see traits in you that I'm trying to dominate on both sides. Okay? Tony's trying to dominate a woman that would put nair in someone's hair. And then Morgan is trying to dominate the man who has cheated on her, who's the player. She's trying to make him submit to her or be with her and just her. But and if they were in a real relationship, they would get bored with each other and it just wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work. Not long term. So we get to eliminations and Mercedes and Suanne are on the chopping block. I don't know how Mercedes got on the chopping block. I thought that was so weird. Andre is the one putting her on the chopping block. Lyndon is the one putting her on the chopping block. Lyndon was like, she friend zoned me. Well, pick somebody else. You had to put Mercedes just because she friend zoned you. And Andre, we have an up and down relationship. Andre, it'd be the delusions for me. We get to the conversations. Blake is saying, yeah, Suanne this, she gives me an opportunity. I'm just bringing up Blake's name because I wanted to point out, Blake, you have nobody else there that wants to be with you. So I don't know why you talking like you got options. Because you don't. Not on this show, at least. My final thought, I do think Lyndon was real raggedy for saying that. I know he was trying to prove a point. But I just felt like that was raggedy and in poor taste. He didn't need to do that. Would I have done it on camera? Probably. I'm just as petty. But I just didn't think that was a good move. That was kind of messed up. Anywho, those are my thoughts on Ready to Love. I'm ready for the reunion, y'all. It is time. It is time. It was a cliffhanger. They didn't tell us who actually got voted off. If it's not Suanne, she really needs to go. Suanne need to go. She don't have nobody else. Don't nobody else. Blake and Suanne need to go. And I also don't know why we're eliminating another woman. I thought Marcia went. What other guy left? Damn, I don't remember. Blue? Was it Blue? I don't remember. Oof, I don't remember. Anyway, get down in the comments and let me know what you think about the episode. And my name is Belle. This has been the Belle Perspective. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.